It's time for a cup of coffee with Will and Chris at Slumberland Furniture. From Slumberland Furniture in Osage Beach, here are your hosts, William Holtz and Chris Schneider.
I'm still breathing. I'm here for another weekly cup of coffee. I just want to say it, Uncle Chris. Congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yep.
Going back to the Super Bowl. We got that and a whole lot more on this week's cup of coffee. Hey, one of my favorite, it's newer, my favorite annual fundraising events. It's Dace Jam Weekend coming up. You know the 3-on-3 basketball tournament?
Yep.
Lake TV competed in last year?
Yeah.
We're going to have Dylan McNerney. He's going to tell us all about just how well their first annual event went and get you ready for year two. Plus, hey, Camden County Prosecutor goes to the commission meeting and responds to the LPR situation with Presiding Commissioner Skelton.
Yeah, some very interesting stuff coming out of that. And as you mentioned last week, the saddest part about this whole thing seems to be the way it's dividing good people in Camden County. So we'll talk about that.
That plus beloved offshore powerboater, Rusty Rom, he's heading to prison on what is called the largest elderly fraud scheme in U.S. history.
Yeah.
We'll tell you about that, plus closings in local road. Crazy headline out of a Stover man. Can't get much crazier and sicker than this individual. And a really cool VA housing groundbreaking. Lake TV was there. We'll tell you about that. And we'll break down the AFC Championship game, that and more after this from Slumberland.
Hey everybody, it's Daryl Cunningham with Slumberland Furniture at the Lake. We're in the middle of our President's Day sale, and that means mattress deals. We have Tempur-Pedics, Purple, Stearns & Foster, and Sealy Posturepedics. Not only that, we're doing up to 60 months interest-free financing. So come get a great night's sleep at a wonderful price and super financing terms. Don't forget, we deliver the entire lake area. Come check us out, Slumberland Furniture, where we're bringing happy home.
All right, and make sure you tell them that Wild Will and Uncle Chris sent you when you stop in at Slumberland at the Lake. Now, as promised, I got Dylan McNerney with the DMAC Impact or the DMAC Impact Foundation, and last year we had you guys come in to tell you about your first annual DMAC weekend. Oh my goodness, the Dace Jam was out of control. And so, Dylan, I want to talk to you about last year, the foundation plans for second event. So first and foremost, I just want to let everybody know a little bit about the foundation and what it stands for and why it's there.
Absolutely. So again, Dylan McNerney from the DMAC Impact Foundation. I'm the vice president. We got started in the springtime of last year with my family and a handful of Dason's friends. We had our first, like you mentioned, our first annual event last year, which we dubbed Dace Jam. People seem to like that name a lot. But yeah, it's a 3-on-3 tournament followed by a silent auction and dinner. Again, it was our trial run last year. We learned a lot, had a lot of people come out, and super excited to see what it turns into.
So I gotta say, I met with the Community Foundation at the Lake a couple weeks ago, and I brought you guys up, and they were like, yeah, their first annual event, they're like, we were blown away. And so I want to touch on that for people that were wondering. They saw video and stuff, but so how did 2024's first annual event, how'd it go?
Absolutely. So yeah, we were able to, thanks to all of our donors, all of our sponsors, everything, we were able to actually give away $63,000 last year. Super proud to announce that. So we really, we kind of had three areas of focus. So our mission is to support families and individuals that have been affected by Crohn's disease as well as addiction. So we kind of had three areas of focus for where we wanted our impact to be. The first one being the addiction side of it. So we gave $30,000 to various sober living homes kind of around the community here. Some of that money went to build apartments for people. Some of that money went to pay for housing for people who can't afford it at the time. So $30,000 went there. We spent, the next area was Crohn's. So we gave $25,000 to the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. It's called Camp Oasis. I alluded to it last year. But it's a camp for kids that are struggling with Crohn's IBD that helps build a community for them, gives them, people who are struggling with the same thing that they're struggling with, gives them people to lean on. The last thing that we wanted to make sure we touched on was the community. So we gave $6,000, 3 different scholarships totaling in $6,000 away to kids that are entering the mental health field. And then the last thing we did was gave $2,000 away to a local family in need. So all in all, $63,000. Super excited to see how that grows for this next year.
That's a big figure, and then to be able to watch that money go right back into things that are so important regarding Crohn's disease. So your first annual event, the 3-on-3 tournament, ended up being a bigger hit than you guys probably envisioned. How many teams did you have at last year?
So last year we had 28 teams. We're doing it a little bit different this year. So last year we had some people that were there kind of just for fun against some competitive people. So we made 2 different leagues this year. We've got a recreational league for people who just want to come out and support our cause. And just have some fun. And then we've got the competitive league for people who are looking to play some competitive basketball.
Full transparency, they were a full D1 team
right.
there. Like, Elbow on the Lake TV team. It was out of control. Man, it was amazing. It was really fun. And who ended up winning last year's tournament? You got to give them some love.
Yeah, it was called the JK Financial Team. Props to them. I believe they had the Kreklo brothers who both played at Mizzou. I think they both played at Mizzou on their team, but both D1 basketball players. So if you're looking for good basketball, definitely some good basketball to be played. But if you're looking to have fun, just support the community, support the cause, that's all there too.
Man, we had a great time. And then Friday night is the silent auction and the dinner, and that was big. I heard that was a fun time. So talk a little bit about that.
Yep. So last year we had about 250 people that came out to that. We had a ton of awesome items that were auctioned off. We're kind of getting that going for this year, starting to build our arsenal of items, I guess you could say. So we'll be announcing some of that soon. But yeah, drinks. We had it catered by Angela's Catering last year. Dinner was great. Drinks. Yeah, we were looking to expand that to more close to maybe 300 people this year, but yeah, it was a lot of fun, lots of games and different things that we did as well.
One thing I thought was so cool was Dason McNerney, such an amazing individual. So many of his friends traveled back and were part of that weekend. And when I was just there briefly at the auction and dinner night, and what I saw was a room filled with people who are giving of their times and their talents in honor. And so for all those people to then get to see $63,000 go back out, directly impacting individuals with Crohn's disease or impacted by that, what does that mean to you, your family, and those individuals?
That's a great question. It was a testament to my brother and who he was. He was great at building a community, great at, he believed in people when they didn't necessarily believe in themselves. So it's been awesome to see the impact he's had from beyond the grave, just from everybody helping us out.
That's awesome. Dace Jam Weekend. It's a second annual, about 2 months away, but it's going to sneak up on you. So where can people go as far as sponsor, donate, sign up to buy tickets, or get that 3-on-3 team registered? Because you heard it, the Kreklo brothers. He's not kidding. This is real. Where can they go?
Absolutely. So DMACimpact.org is kind of our hub to sign up for all of that. Sign up for tickets to the silent auction, for the 3-on-3 tournament. But yeah, if you have any questions, you can also reach out to us on the website as well.
Awesome. Looking forward to that weekend. April 10th, 11th, and 12th, or April 11th and 12th, right here at Lake of the Ozarks. Well done, I got to tell you. From last year to this year, pretty amazing what you guys have done and the way you guys are running this and getting people involved. So proud to know you guys and keep up the great work.
Thanks a bunch, William. Appreciate it.
We'll be right back on Cup of Coffee after this.
Don't forget to tune in to this month's edition of the Monthly Market Update. I'm Jessica Bruce with the Bruce & Kelly Real Estate Team. This month, we're going to be touring a gorgeous unit inside Cypress, Unit 3G. It's one of the most stunning here on the market. We're going to talk condo stats, and we're going to talk a little bit about maybe some tips and tricks and condo misconceptions that you might have. All that and more on this month's edition. See you then.
All right, get you ready for the monthly market update this Saturday. And hey, I'm going to go out of order here real quick just because it was yesterday and it's on topic. Really cool. We saw yesterday a VA housing groundbreaking right here at Lake of the Ozarks, Uncle Chris.
So important, too. I mean, we've got so many great, wonderful veterans here. So they just continue to, they built that new facility a couple of years ago. They continue to add to the mix. It's a wonderful thing.
And we were invited by Jessica Bruce with the Bruce and Kelly real estate team. And as you said, big day for veterans at the lake, Monday, January 27th, off of North Shore Drive, Highway W. The Lighthouse at Lake Ozark. It was with CEO and developer Bill Barnard, and I thought it was really cool. He opened up where he said he gets a daily verse on his phone. That's how he addressed the crowd, and it was packed. Matthew 5:14, you are the light of the world, a town built on a hill that cannot be hidden. And he said he thought that was symbolic and thought that was really, really cool. And if you're wondering what is the Lighthouse at Lake Ozark, it's a place for veterans to come home, a space dedicated to honoring and supporting our nation's heroes, with developer Bill Barnard, family, partners, friends, vendors, part owner Corey Leggett, if you recognize that name, NBA star, went to Duke University, was on hand right here at Lake of the Ozarks, as well as Lake Ozark dignitaries, 3 of our aldermen and women, as well as City Administrator Harrison Fry, and a lot of the Lake Ozark PD. Chief Boren was there, Corporal Cordula. I mean, all of the guys were there. Pretty cool to see so many people come together. And if you're wondering, why was this such a big deal? 20 different buildings, 160 units, all 2-bedroom apartments that are handicap accessible. They'll have a doctor's office, dental office, and mental and physical therapy on site with large meeting spaces and kitchens. And they'll even have laundry service, transportation, and food service. And this is a 24-month project that officially broke ground yesterday. This is big, and I thought it was a really cool ceremony. We got to eat well. And how about this as far as the lake is growing and booming? It's also growing and booming for veterans.
Absolutely. It's such a wonderful thing and such a needed thing. I mean, you know, for so many years, we've heard that at the minimum, I think it was, what was it, like 1,200, veterans a day that were committing suicide or something, some crazy number like that. So these things are very needed, very important. It's great to see it happening right here.
And they did mention, Bill Barnard did mention there that 10% of our homeless population are veterans, and that is a travesty. And so it's one of the reasons that this was so important to him and his team, his wife, his kids significant others, all involved in this. This is a very family-run company. Looks pretty cool. I'm excited about this and the fact that, it's going to give a lot of veterans an opportunity to have a great place to live with. I mean, what was unique to me was, look, you're going to have laundry service, transportation, but even bigger, doctor's office, dental, on location. I mean, that's really cool and going to open up some new options. So that was a great way to start our week. And then as far as last week, we told you about the LPR situation and this great divide brewing potentially in Camden County. And it appears that it has, because presiding Commissioner Skelton, we told you about the alleged removal of the LPR. Well, now at the commission meeting last Thursday, January 23rd, Camden County Prosecutor Rochelle Grosvenor actually attended and addressed the commission. Here's a few of the things she had to say.
I listened to a radio program last night where Commissioner Skelton made certain comments. I think it's important for me to address those comments. Angering, frustrating to me as an elected official of Camden County that a commissioner would mislead the public on whose roles are what. That in Camden County, we have a prosecuting attorney, and Camden County employs, to great expense to taxpayers, a county attorney. Let's be clear on whose roles are what. I am not going to allow a commissioner to make a public statement on the radio that he was not advised about the ordinance and what would happen if he decided to independently go remove the license plate reader. Presiding Commissioner Skelton stated publicly that no one had advised him regarding the consequence of any further action on the license plate reader if he insinuated that he was going to take matters into his own hands and remove it on his own. That is a lie. I don't want anybody to think that we've taken any position on license plate holders. That's not the conversation that we're having. We absolutely do not ever want the misuse of any law enforcement tool. The way that this was carried out and the division that it has created in the county with future finger pointing, that is what I wanted to address today.
Now, Presiding Commissioner Skelton, he wasn't present at this meeting, but that was quite the visit, and Prosecutor Grosvenor did say that she didn't want to say this without him there, but she also didn't want to wait any longer. And so Sheriff Edgar also went on to talk about he's been in office for 22 days and into his new role, and he's just trying to clean things up within his office, and this kind of causes that divide that we had alluded to. So I do understand that the ongoing investigation has allegedly concluded, and as of Tuesday, January 28th at 10 a.m. time of recording, we don't really know what's going to happen or what happens next, but I thought it was a bold move that Prosecutor Grosvenor went to the commission meeting and wanted to do this together, wanted to talk about this out in the open, being recorded instead of maybe in closed session, because it does look like there's some things going on in that divide that I alluded to. That's not just a divide that goes away. I mean, how do we move forward?
Yeah, it is refreshing, though, I will say, and it takes a lot of personal chutzpah, some strength, to come out as Prosecutor Grosvenor did and just put it all on the table. Here's what happened, here's where we were, we don't necessarily agree with this, but here's how it all played out. Really respect her for that. I mean, so much of our world today, especially politics, is trying to hide that, trying to, not let anybody know what happened here, there, and all that stuff. And so it's kind of cool to see them just laying it out on the table and seeing. I don't know how it's going to turn out. That will be very interesting. But it's good to know that some of our elected officials, at least this group, is being very honest about it.
Yeah, and I mean, it put, Commissioner Gohagan in a pretty interesting spot, and it also put, new Commissioner Steve Dugan in a pretty interesting spot. They didn't really know what to say or how to respond, except for, how do we move forward? And we can't argue with you, but I do love seeing that open dialogue, and we'll keep you posted as this story progresses. Still pending is the House bill number 658. You'll remember that State Rep Jeff Vernetti filed in the General Assembly, and that would ban those statewide should that be heard by any committee and passed.
Yeah, and those are the LRP's license plate readers, right? So that's the main crux of the matter here. Those do they spy on citizens? Yes, they do, and that's Commissioner Shelton's point, is that I don't want my people spied on, but in getting rid of that license plate or taking it down, was he in the wrong? Was he in the right? Well, that's all to be worked out yet. So.
Sure. All right. So our next headline, beloved offshore powerboater Rusty Rahm, heading to prison now. His official name Russell Jason Rusty, known to most people down here at the lake. Rahm pleaded guilty to a federal felony of conspiracy to commit mail fraud, and he was sentenced in a U.S. District Court in Minnesota January 7th. The only other thing I'll add, and then I want to hear your take on this, Uncle Chris, is federal prosecutors say that it's the biggest incident of elder fraud in U.S. history, with 183,000 victims who lost an estimated $335 million.
Yeah.
Now, Rahm was indicted in October of 2020, so this has been ongoing. But in March of 2019, he had a stroke. And so that kind of has complicated things, but they handed down his sentence, and this is just wild, Uncle Chris.
Yeah, so Rahm, one of 61 alleged conspirators in this scheme. It involved targeting elderly individuals and fraudulently charging them for magazine subscriptions over a period of 20 years. So that was the scheme. He was sentenced to 10 years in federal prison, 2 years supervised release, and the requirement to pay back over $103 million, right, in restitution. And as you mentioned, he had this stroke in a hotel room, I think in Las Vegas in 2019, laid on the floor, unable to call for help for 18 hours. Obviously, a lot of damage physically and mentally was done. So his lawyers asked the court to consider those circumstances and go light on the sentencing. The judge, John R. Tunheim was unmoved by all of that and went forward with that sentencing of 10 years and everything in federal prison. So it's just heartbreaking to see on both ends. You know, it's heartbreaking to see somebody in his condition go to prison where he's likely to die in prison. On the other hand, it was terrible that this is the biggest, scheme against elderly people too.
And it's worth noting that it wasn't as if it was in ignorance, as he was listed as the main scheme leader, had numerous companies throughout numerous states that would get people's information and their banking information that had subscriptions, sell those to companies, and that's not where his hands then left the involvement. He would then run the books for those companies he sold the information to as far as billing their clients and collecting that money. And then he promised those people a portion of the proceeds for all of these fake subscriptions. So that's why he would be listed as a scheme leader. And this isn't now allegedly, this has now been handed down, and he's been sentenced to, as you said, 10 years in prison, 2 years of supervised release, and he has to report for his prison sentence on March 11th, 2025.
Yeah.
That's coming up.
Coming right up. This is so big, they had telemarketers centers in Minnesota, Florida, Kansas, Missouri, Illinois, Arizona, Arkansas, Texas, and Colorado. This was a huge scheme that he had going on, obviously. And he's known around here because he bought Wake Effects, wakeboarding business in 2012. He sold that in 2017, raced, in the local races and everything. So pretty well known around the lake.
Yeah, so he been a guy that people love, some of those big checks he had cut. In retrospect, maybe when you're involved in $103 million owing restitution, your $10,000 to the local Make-A-Wish Foundation isn't quite as spectacular as it seemed at the time. All right, in our next story, hey, get ready. Route TT is going to be closed February 10th. They're going to be doing some culvert work, this according to MoDOT, and this could be interfered with apparently the demolition of the toll bridge, the actual complex there, right? The toll bridge toll booth that's there. And so I reached out to MoDOT, going to find out, hey, when that toll booth is going to be demolished, and waiting to hear back. But I can tell you the plan is February 10th. TT will be closed, and that's important because if you drive that way, that could add major delays. It's between Pisces and 3 Oaks Drive from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. That's going to be closed, and so that's a Monday. Shouldn't affect you and I, right?
No, I'm going to be in Florida, I think, that day.
That's right.
But that is something to keep, write down, keep your eye on, of when they're going to close TT, because they're going to do it for culvert work sooner or later. I mean, certainly the plan is right now February 10th, which will probably happen. But then they're also going to blast out the toll booth stuff. So all of that is going to shut down TT over a period of time in the next couple of months. So keep an eye on that.
Yeah, and speaking of demolition, you see demolition at the Lakewood Resort condos officially underway. Got some photos sent over from Jeff Tegetthoff's team Monday. Said, hey, it's underway. We're trying to get a drone over there, may be able to in the coming days. But yeah, it's officially underway. We saw some of those buildings starting to get torn down, some of the decks and stairs and things of that nature. So it should start looking a lot different as you drive by. We'll keep you posted on that. All right, so hey, according to KRMS, this came out on January 23rd. Stoverman. This came from a cyber tip from a national and exploited children. This tip leads to the arrest of 21-year-old Brenton Roberts. He was charged in Morgan County with 5 counts of possessing child pornography, and as up to 93 different files were discovered. And if that's not sick enough, Uncle Chris, one of those 93 files had a video of Roberts having intercourse with a female dog. So he's currently being held in the Morgan County Jail on a $250,000 bond with added conditions of no contact with any minor children and to be set up on GPS monitoring. But what kind of sick level of what could possibly be going on?
I have no idea. I mean, every once in a while you see stories like that and you just shake your head and go, what the heck? I mean, that's just beyond imagination.
Well, it goes to show just the mindset or the headspace of this individual. The child porn charges show that. And then if you had any doubts, the next charge, just absolutely crazy. 21-year-old Britton Roberts, a new level of twisted.
You know what, though, with that story in mind, I am so pleased with what Trump and the federal government are doing, clearing out sex offending illegal aliens, whatnot, sending them back home, hopefully making our country a lot safer.
Right.
It's just, again, unbelievable that those people were allowed to come into our country unopposed, unchecked, and do whatever they wanted to do. And then our system of the judicial system was letting them right back out into the community.
Right.
It's just unbelievable.
All right. So before we run out of time here, we did promise everybody we'd give our quick recap of the AFC Championship game. Let me have it. Chiefs Nation, I got you riled up a little bit, whether it was on Facebook or here on Cup of Coffee. You watched me in my Josh Allen jersey and my Bills mug. But hey, I want to give a shout out to my buddy, Jason Stapleton. We know him. He's our buddy.
Yep.
He kind of hit the nail on the head because he said Andy Reid is simply playing chess while everybody else that's coaching NFL teams is playing checkers.
Yep.
And that proved true this Sunday. I want to say before I hear your take, Chris, I'm not going to fall into the camp on it was the officiating or it's the NFL fix because it came down to the coaching, the play calling, and downright execution. And for Buffalo, you saw the play action play where you hit James Cook for the long, 25-yard play into the flat. But outside of that, you had 4 second and ones. You never ran a play action and take a shot. You ran Josh Allen up the middle and you got stuffed. Andy Reid was ready for it. He had a new offensive game plan you had not seen. And he's probably got another one for the Eagles. And I know the world wants the Eagles, but I'm not that guy. Listen, I'm in Missouri. I hope the Chiefs do it again. Get number 4, Patty. Love the Chiefs organization. They're all class. And it'd be the first three-peat in NFL history. So they're simply the best. I can't argue it. They got the best coach, the best quarterback, and they're probably going to do the unthinkable and win their third in a row. So there you have it. Repeat of Super Bowl 57, Eagles and Chiefs. What do you think, Uncle Chris?
I think Andy Reid he's proving to be one of the greatest coaches in NFL history, no doubt, but he wouldn't be what he is without Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Chris Jones. Same thing with the Patriots when they were going on their run. Belichick wouldn't have been as great without Tom Brady and a cast of characters, so that's a huge part of it. Another one, I've noticed in all of these Chiefs games, there's one key play that makes the difference, turns the tide. Against San Francisco in the first Super Bowl, it was the wasp play, the throw down the field. In the first Super Bowl against the Eagles, it was the fumble from Hurt and a scoop and score for the Chiefs. Turn that game around. And then last year in the Super Bowl, it was the drop punt, the fumble on the punt. Turn that game around, and against the Bills this week, it was the 4th and 1 where the Chiefs got the stop and got the ball back. That was the play I thought that turned the tide.
Sure. So big matchup. Who wins in the Super Bowl? You got the Eagles or you got the Chiefs?
Every time I pick against the Chiefs, they win, and I believe it. I don't believe the Chiefs are going to win that game, and here I'm going to pick the Eagles to win and hope that I'm wrong and that the superstition will continue and the Chiefs win 3 in a row.
Chiefs absolutely take it. I wouldn't be surprised if Patrick Mahomes doesn't win the MVP. It's going to be a Chiefs receiver, could be DeAndre Hopkins, but yeah, I don't think the Chiefs have any problem finding a way to slow down Saquon Barkley and the Eagles. They're going to three-peat.
Yeah, I hope so.
Congratulations. All right, big shout out to our guy, Chris, with Chris Lyko. People were asking, why was Chris Jones crying on the sideline?
Yeah.
I don't know a lot, but I believe it's because he lives in gratitude and he is so overwhelmed by this moment that he continually lives in. This is his life. He's so grateful for the sacks, for the contract, for the Super Bowl opportunity, and he just is moved by emotion. And that's a guy I can get down with because if you know Wild Will, every once in a while, I can get moved emotionally.
Yep.
Until next week from Slumberland at the Lake, thanks for watching this week's Cup of Coffee.